and also liability insurance. Okay, these two we don't have the deductible. Right? Understand? Okay, so and please bear in mind that deductible, it must be amount that must be borne by the policy holder. Okay, remember this. Hello everyone. Today I will continue with another discussion on deductible and co-insurance. So for today's lesson, we will focus on co-insurance because for my previous video, I actually discussed in detail about the deductible. Alright, so the learning standard for today is we're going to solve problems involving insurance, including co-insurance, mainly focus on co-insurance. So what is co-insurance actually? Co-insurance, co means we can actually is CO, cost sharing of the loss between the insurance company and the policy holder. Co means actually is just like together, right? Insurance company and policy holder sharing the loss together. Okay, for the cost of the insurance. For the co-insurance clause in property, very common in property insurance, the policy holder is required to insure his property at a certain amount based on the percentage of the co-insurance determined by the insurance company from the insurable value of the property. If this co-insurance provision is not met, the policyholder will have to bear some of the losses together with the insurance company. So therefore, if the policyholder wish to recover full compensation for the partial loss incurred, he must insure the property in accordance with his co-insurance provisions. Okay, let's try to understand about the amount of required insurance is equal to percentage of co-insurance times the insurable value of property. So cross is actually, when we talk about cross, is part of written legal document. Okay, clause is part of a written legal document. The insurable value of the property is the actual value of the assets, the actual values for the house example. And the cost replacement of the property or any other value stated in the valuation clause of the insurance policy. Alright, so let's try to understand this. Number one, if let's say the insured value is equal to amount of required insurance, equal, this is equal. amount of the compensation is equal to amount of loss minus deductible, where amount of losses should be less than amount of insurance purchase. For case 1, insured value is equal to amount required insurance. For second one, the insured value is less than amount of required insurance. So the amount of compensation, how to calculate the amount of compensation, is amount of insured value, amount of insurance purchase value over amount of required insurance times with the amount of losses minus deductible. Okay, so that is how you calculate the compensation. So when it is less than amount of required insurance, the amount of insurance purchase over the amount of required. The amount of purchase is from the policyholder. This is from insurance company. Okay, this is insurance company. They will fix the value, and this one is from the policyholder. It's up to policyholder to decide the amount of insurance purchase, and the amount of loss is a amount that is actually fixed after calculated, minus the deductible, also the amount determined by the insurance company that have to bear by the policyholder. So we have 3 cases. The third cases is suffer a total loss. So in this case, amount of the insurance purchase minus the deductible. Okay, so for the 3 cases, the way to calculate for the amount of compensation are different. All right, so now let's discuss one example which is a bit complicated. All right, let's continue with the example. So Inche Ismail wants to buy fire insurance for his house. The insurable value for the house is 350,000 ringgit Malaysia, and the fire insurance policy he wants to buy has a co-insurance provision to insure 80% of its insurable value and deductible of 2,000. So 80,000 of insured value. Calculate the amount of insure required by Inche Ismail for the house. So the amount of insurance. So let's see how to calculate the amount of insurance that Inche Ismail need to pay for his house. So 80% of the insurable value, so that is actually based on the percentage. 80% times the house is 350,000, right? So the amount of insurance required by Inche Ismail is actually 80% of its insurable value. Okay, let's press a calculator. 80 per 100 times the 350,000. So the answer is 280,000. So the amount required is ringgit Malaysia 280,000. Alright, so this is the amount required by Inche Ismail for the the house insurance. Okay, so let's see the next one. In J. Ismail's house caught a fire, unfortunately, and the amount of loss is 25,000. Calculate the amount of compensation. Amount of compensation that Inje Ismail will receive if he insure his house. Number one, the amount of required insurance. The amount of required insurance is actually the first case, right? So the amount of required insurance is if you calculate the compensation based on number one is the amount of the loss minus the amount deductible. Okay, so let's see what is the amount of loss is 25,000, right? So we will highlight the amount of the loss, and what is the deductible value or deductible amount, which is 2,000. So for amount of the compensation that Inje Ismail will receive if he insure his house at the amount required by the insurance is actually the amount of loss, which is 25,000 minus the deductible amount, so 2,000. So the answer is 23,000, right? Okay, now how about number two? Let's focus on number two. The compensation that Inje Ismail will receive if he insure his house at a sum of 150,000. Calculate the core insurance penalty. So let's see this one. If the insured value is less than amount required of required insurance, the amount of required insurance is 280,000, right? Okay, so Inje Ismail actually insure his house at 150,000, which is actually less than 280,000, right? So okay, let's see. So if he insure the value which is less than the amount insured, okay, less than the amount of the insurance required, then how to calculate the amount of compensation? We have to take the amount of insurance purchase over the amount of required insurance, which is 280,000, right? Okay, and the insurance purchase is 150,000 if you read the question, right? And the amount of loss, it was given 25,000, and the amount of deductible is 2,000, right? So we just plug in the figure, everything. So we will do the calculation. 150,000 divided by 280,000, which is the amount of required insurance, and then we will have to times with the amount of loss, which is 25,000, and then we need to minus the deductible amount, which is 2,000. So the amount that the amount that we calculated is actually the core insurance penalty. So let's see how to do. So if we follow the working just now, we take 150,000 divided by 280,000 times 25,000, which is the loss. This is the deductible amount. So the answer is 11,392.85714 if I use my calculator. So if I round off, I will get 11,392.86. So this is the amount of the compensation. Okay, so the amount of penalty is actually, we need to take the amount of the insurance loss, which is 25,000, minus the amount of the 150,000 over 280,000 times 25,000. Then the balance is actually the co-insurance penalty, which is equivalent to 46.4% of the total loss. Okay, so let's do it again. So in order to calculate this one, let me show you again. Injek Ismail actually okay, we start from the beginning. Again, I explain. Injek Ismail bought a house with 350,000, right? Okay, so this is the 350,000, and the fire insurance policy once he wants to buy has a core insurance provision to insure 80% of the insurable value. So the insurance company will actually fix the amount that required by the insurance company is 80% of the 350, the actual value of the house. Okay, after we calculated, we have 280,000. This is the amount that insurance company fix, which is actually fixed amount. So Injek Ismail's house caught a fire, and the loss is 25,000. Okay, so in this case, if Injek Ismail insure his house at the amount which actually same as the required insurance amount, then the compensation that he will receive will be actually take the loss, which is 25,000, minus out the 2,000. Okay, we will follow this one, which is amount of losses. Okay, because his insured value is equal to amount of required insurance. So we will take the amount of loss, which is 25,000, minus the deductible. So it's actually equivalent to 23,000, right? This is the compensation value that Injek Ismail will receive. But if for the case 2, the sum of the amount that Injek Ismail insure is 150,000, which is not the amount required by insurance company, which is 280,000. That means Injek Ismail insure less than the insure value required by the insurance company. So if it is less, then hence we have to calculate the insurance penalty. Okay, before we calculate the insurance penalty, we have to calculate the we have to take 150,000, okay, which is the amount of the insurance purchase. That means Injek Ismail purchased 150,000 over this is actually the compensation that Injek Ismail will receive lah. So the amount that Injek Ismail purchased is 150,000, and amount of required insurance by the insurance company is 80% of the 350,000. We already calculated is 280,000 times with the, according to the formula, we have to use the formula amount of loss and minus the deductible. Amount of the loss given by the question 25,000, and deductible amount also given by the question. So if you press a calculator, you will get the answer is 11,392.85714. So because we are dealing with ringgit Malaysia and cent, so we will round up to 86 cents. So it's ringgit Malaysia 11,392.86. So we actually need to calculate the co-insurance penalty, right? So the co-insurance penalty is actually, we need to calculate the amount of the compensation, which is 150,000 over 280,000 times 25,000, which is 13,392.86. And then this amount will have to be minus out from the loss. So it's actually a loss, which is 25,000 penalty. We are calculating the penalty. We will take the value which is 150,000 over 280,000, and we times with the losses 25,000, and minus out the, we will have to minus out from the just now the, if you calculated this value, we calculate this value first. 150,000 over 280,000. Okay, be careful when you do times with the losses. We will get answer is 13,392.86. okay, so the penalty is you have to take the losses minus out this value. So the loss incurred is 25,000, minus out this value is 13,392.86. So how to calculate the penalty? We have to take the losses minus out the 150,000 over 280,000 times 25,000. So we will take 25,000 minus out this one, we will get the answer 11,607.14. This is the penalty incurred, okay, by the co-insurance, 11,607.14, right? Okay, so co-insurance penalty is actually equivalent to how many percent? So we'll take 11,607.14 divided by 25,000, and we times with 100, we'll get the percentage is 46.43%, right? So if you want to calculate the percentage of the losses of the penalty from the total losses, okay, times with 100%, okay, so you will get, which is 46.43% of the total loss. Okay, so it seems like quite a lot. The percentage is quite high for the core insurance penalty. So amount of compensation for C, let's see, for case C, Encik Ismail's house suffered a total loss. Okay, if he insured his house at a sum of 200,000, which is a little bit higher, but still below the sum insured 280,000, calculate the amount of the compensation he will receive. So let's do the calculation. So the amount now is 200,000. So we need to minus out the, because of total loss, let's see the number 3, if total loss, okay, for the suffer of total loss, the way to calculate is different. We will take amount of the insurance purchase minus the deductible, right? So deductible is just 2,000, and then the amount insured is 200,000. So we will get the answer, which is 100 and you take 200,000, you minus out 2,000, you will get answer which is 198,000, right? 198,000. Okay, so if 198,000, the total loss suffered by Encik Ismail, let's see. We need to know how much is the loss bear by Encik Ismail. So the loss bear by Encik Ismail, is 350,000 minus 198,000. It's just 152,000, right? So because the actual house, the cost of the house is 350,000, right? So let's see. So this is 198,000. The cost of the house is 350,000 minus out 198,000. So that means 350,000 we need to minus 198,000. So that means if calculate is 152,000. So it seems like is 198,000 is more than the total loss of the house. I mean the total loss for the house. Okay, so for Encik Ismail, total loss is 150,000. Then the compensation is 198. In this case, will the insurance will pay 198,000 to Encik Ismail? What is your answer? So the answer is, let's see how to explain this. If the policy holder insure his property with a higher amount, 200,000 is higher amount, that the amount of required insurance under the co-insurance provision, the compensation calculated using the co-insurance formula will exceed the amount of actual loss, right? 198 after you minus is actual loss is 152,000. However, the insurance company will only pay the compensation not exceeding the amount of actual loss, and the maximum payment for a loss will be equal to the total face value of the insurance purchase by the policy holder. So amount of loss borne by Encik Ismail is 152,000. So in this case, the insurance company will pay to Encik Ismail 152,000. Okay. Alright, so this is about the core insurance. So the amount that policy holders bear on the partial loss incurred as a result not meeting the core insurance provision is known as core insurance penalty, right? So that's all the sharing about the core insurance. Okay, I really hope that my sharing do help you to have a better understanding about the core insurance calculation. Till then, bye bye and have a nice day.